know I can speak for all Americans when I say our hearts are with the people of New Orleans after the despicable attack that occurred in the early morning hours. To all the families of those who are killed, to all those who are injured, to all the people of New Orleans who are grieving today, I want you to know I grieve with you. Our nation grieves with you. We're going to stand with you as you mourn and as you heal in the weeks to come. I want to thank our brave first responders and law enforcement personnel who stopped the attacker in his tracks before he could kill or injure even more people. And I want to thank you to everyone at the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Justice, including the FBI, for working nonstop to investigate this heinous act.
NobleGoldInvestments.com. As we step into 2025, one thing is clear. De-dollarization is not stopping. It's accelerating. China and the other BRICS nations are scared of President Trump, and it's making them more determined to reduce their dependence on the US dollar and establish themselves as global economic superpowers. Their secret weapon? Gold. In fact, China resumed buying gold. And you know what's even more telling? They underreport their buy. Doesn't it make you wonder why? They recognize its global value and ability to withstand economic shocks. Gold is a global asset with innate value. It's tangible, reliable, and immune to economic manipulation. China and the other BRICS countries want to be prepared. They just don't want you to know about it. But this isn't about the nations. It's about you. In a world of shifting economic power, gold is your personal hedge against uncertainty. Noble Gold Investments can help you secure your financial future with gold. Visit NobleGoldInvestments.com today to learn more, and with a qualified account, receive 10 1-ounce silver American coins. That is NobleGoldInvestments.com. And remember, when investing, there are no guarantees of any kind. Well, good damn afternoon, Americans. Jericho Green here with you once again. And hold on a second, I'm jotting something down. I just thought about, there we go. A lot of bad shit happening in two different places. You've all heard about it, so let's talk about it. Let's see what we know now. But I will end this on a good note. I will end this with something that is going to put a smile on that face of yours. So we're going to get into a lot of heavy shit. We're going to get into a lot of, gruesome shit, unfortunately. But there is a smile at the end of this terrible blood-stained rainbow. So what happened yesterday, New Year's Day? And I waited. I didn't do a video yesterday on purpose, just to see what information would be coming out. So some of the clips I got yesterday, so you'll see where it says 10 dead, but I think now it's up to 16 is the highest that I heard, with 30 people injured in New Orleans. There was another attack in Las Vegas where only one person was killed, the person who was in the vehicle in front of Trump Towers. There's footage of what was in the back of the truck. It's crazy. And are they connected? You have both men dead who perpetrated these attacks. Both of them were former Army, and both of them served at Fort Bragg. So I think we can get rid of the word coincidence. Yesterday, when it first happened, there was a small chance that maybe the Cybertruck attack, it was fireworks. You'll see in the footage, there's like things shooting out and sparks and stuff. So there were fireworks. And it might have made you think for a second that it could have been just some regular civilian dumbass who had a bunch of stuff in the back of his truck that shouldn't have been mixed together, and kaboom. But that quickly went away when you see that it's a Cybertruck, which is made by Tesla, which is owned by Elon Musk, who is one of the heads of Doge in the incoming President Trump's administration. And it was in front of Trump's hotel in Vegas. Side note, I stayed there with my wife. It's amazing. There's no smoking, there's no gambling, shopping, spas, great rooms, stuff to do around there, and it's not on the strip. But anyway, Yeah, blew up the truck right in front of Trump Towers. And then in New Orleans, I mean, the carnage, the twisted, mangled bodies laying in the street. A little girl was ran over. And in the article, it said she was as flat as a pillow. Horrifying. Again, they're both dead. The idiot in Las Vegas got blown up in the truck. The piece of shit in New Orleans was shot by police. After he crashed the vehicle, he hopped out with, they said, an assault rifle, which doesn't exist, but it's probably an AR-15 style rifle. And he tried to shoot it out with the cops and he lost. They shot his bitch ass. He's dead. And to be honest, one of them was blown up and the other one was shot. I mean, that's really good punishment, honestly, because if they lived like that, and a couple weeks ago, you have in Germany, the Christmas market attack where the guy did the same thing. He drove a vehicle through there, killing people, injuring people, but he was arrested. He's still alive. But if they were to be arrested here in America, what would happen to him? If they didn't get the death penalty, well, let's say they did. Let's say they did get the death penalty. I don't know if Vegas has it. I'm assuming New Orleans does. It's the South, you know. But let's just say both states have the death penalty. If they were given the death penalty, how long are they going to be on death row? Decades? A decade? Multiple decades? And then once their day comes for their death, their well-deserved death, they're probably going to stick a needle in their arm, because the way it goes with lethal injection, if you don't know, they stick you with one chemical, I guess, and that puts you to sleep first. Then they inject you with a lethal cocktail that kills you. So you don't even feel it. You're not struggling. You're not gasping. You just go to sleep and then you die. Well, if you did something to get on death row, your victim probably just didn't go to sleep first and then you raped and killed them. No, they were probably awake for all of it. So being that would be the punishment, either life in prison, you know, let's say they rolled over on somebody or decided to give them information so they could catch a bigger fish. They're either going to get life without parole or the death penalty, which would only end with them getting an injection in their arm. That's not good enough. So for the one guy to be blown up, hopefully he wasn't blown up in the Cybertruck right away. Maybe there was some gasping for hot air, superheated gases, smoke inhalation, his eyes bugging out of his head like Arnold in Total Recall. Remember he was on Mars and his helmet broke? Hopefully there was some of that. That monster down in New Orleans, hopefully, you know, the officers didn't shoot him right in the head or something. Maybe, you know, he had some gasping for air and walking toward the light, you know, gargling or something like that. But that would be way better than what our justice system would give them, because even though this is an amazing country, our punishment for criminals sucks. Man, so much. But here's some of the first clips that came out, and I'm going to show you what I see in these clips. Some of it's going to be sexist, but you guys know me. I don't care. So let's start off here with the clip that I named Chief Grandma. This is from a press conference in New Orleans after that horrible terrorist attack. That's something else we're going to talk about. You'll see here, the mayor calls it, I don't know if it's in this clip, but the mayor calls it a terrorist attack. And then the head of the FBI group, the assistant, whatever special agents in charge of this case, says, it's not a terrorist attack. Ladies, get your shit together. Here we go with the clip called Chief Grandma.
So at this time, Chief Kirkpatrick.
Thank you. All right. Good morning, everyone. So I'm going to give you as much of the information I possibly can. We are going to give you an update a couple of times today. So we will give you just the basics this morning. All right.
First of all, the lady who introduced Gertrude there, that was the mayor of New Orleans, that woman of color. That's the same mayor that brought you the giant afro pick outside of City Hall, because everybody knows all New Orleans problems are taken care of. So let's spend money on a giant fucking comb. And I think it had the black fist on it. Right on. So she passes the mic to Chief Grandma, and Chief Grandma passes the mic to Special Agent DEI.
Assistant agent in charge. This is Agent Duncan, Special Agent Duncan. And she has taken over this case on behalf of us and the FBI. As always, we will be in partnership with all of our partners. But Agent Duncan, if you want to have a few words for everyone.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning. My name is Alethea Duncan. I'm the Assistant Special Agent in charge for FBI New Orleans. As Chief Kirkpatrick said, we'll be taking over the investigative lead for this event. This is not a terrorist event. What it is right now is their improvised explosive devices that was found, and we are working on confirming if this is a viable device or not.
So one of the things that they found in this dude's truck in New Orleans and other places downtown were some IEDs. Luckily, they didn't go off. He had an ISIS flag on his truck. He rented the pickup truck. So did the other guy in Vegas. They both use the same app to rent the truck. So that's another thing. They were both in the Army. They both served at the same base, and they both use the same app to rent their cars. So I think the coincidence is being eroded away as more and more information comes out. And speaking of more and more information coming out, we know these guys in the service, we know their names, we know their age, they're already raiding their homes, all of these things. Where was this push for information after Trump got shot? What do we know about that? They couldn't even crack that dude's phone. That dude was a bubble-headed retard, and they couldn't crack his cell phone. But boy, do we know everything about these guys. Anyway, so the first thing I noticed from those two clips is there's all women in charge. The mayor's a woman, that old-ass lady is a police chief, and then you have Special Agent DEI with a fucking nose ring. I don't care if you have a nose ring. Good for you. But can a special agent in the FBI not have a nose ring? Maybe don't wear it to work? But Jericho, that's so petty. What does that mean? It means a lot. You're a professional in a government law enforcement agency, and they allow you to wear a nose ring to work. Yes, I said it. They're all women. I don't think women should be in positions of control like that. I don't think women should be police officers. Get the fuck out of here. Look at that lady. She looks like she makes a mean oatmeal raisin cookie, but she is the chief of police. Look how old that woman is. The badge on the front of her hat is crooked. That means something. When you wear a uniform to work, your uniform should be crisp and clean. Especially if you're top law enforcement, your badge on your hat should not be crooked. Maybe people don't understand that if you never served in something where you need a uniform like law enforcement or the military, but your uniform is everything. Everything should be tight and squared away and satisfactory with your uniform, especially when you have scrambled eggs on your hat. You are in charge of something. You are the leader. You should look more squared away than anybody else. I remember being in the service and we had an inspection. And so they would come down and it'd usually be your division officer or something. They come down there inspecting you. But at the same time, you're inspecting them. You're looking at their uniform. You're seeing that they're all squared away. And it's not like you're looking to find something because you damn sure ain't going to say nothing if you do. Oh, yeah, sir? Well, look at this. You ain't going to say shit. But you're looking to see that they're leading by example. So their shit better be more squared away than anybody else. Her damn badge on the front of her hat is crooked. And she's about 85 years old. Why the fuck is a little old lady, literally, a little old lady, the chief of police in New Orleans? One of the most violent shitholes that we have in this country. Why is the mayor a fucking woman? Why is the special agent in charge of this case a woman? Jericho, you can say you like women? Stop being stupid. You know what I mean. If you were looking online, you were looking for some daycare for your kids, and you saw a guy was running a daycare, or there was a guy who was a babysitter, you taking your kid to that guy? Of course you're not. Why? Because it's a dude. That shit's weird. Women take care of kids and babysit a guy. And I'm not saying he's a pervert or anything, or that he would do anything. But it's just weird for you to be in a female-dominated profession. So law enforcement is a male-dominated profession. So why don't you have a strong male who are made for leadership? This is what we do. Women do their thing. We do ours. But the people of New Orleans, for you to be sitting up there watching fucking steel magnolias in charge of a terrorist attack in your city, damn, I wouldn't feel very safe. I wouldn't feel very confident. Get the fuck out of here. Damn Golden Girls up there. Fucking designing women. Holy shit. But anyway, that's what I noticed about that. And that nose ring, girl, take that shit out. You're a damn federal, you work for the Federal Bureau of Investigation. You got a stud in your nose. Fucking stop. Then you had Sloppy Joe up there slurring and stumbling through his comments. Why is it? I know he only has about, what's today, the second? I know you only got about 18 days left, Joe. And where the fuck is Kamala? Where has she been? She's probably, you remember Scrooge McDuck had his vault with the dimes or with the money in there, and he goes swim in his vault and go look at his lucky dime. I bet Kamala's doing that, except it's a vault full of 75-year-old pubic hairs. And she's just grabbing handfuls. Where's she been? But as a leader of the free world, as a leader of this country, I expect a little more fire. I expect a little more intensity when you're talking about this. We had a terrible event that took place today in New Orleans and in Las Vegas. We're doing everything we can to find out who did this. Nobody gets to perpetrate a terrorist act on American soil and live to tell about it. We are doing everything we can. We have all our agencies working overtime, and we're going to find out who did this, and we're going to keep America safe. Something like that. Not the people in New Orleans in the department slurring his words. Man, please. But anyway, let's look at some of the footage from here. In this clip, in both of the clips, you can hear some of the dispatch conversation back and forth from law enforcement and EMTs who were on scene in New Orleans, and it's fucking terrible.
Got at least maybe 12 to 15 people hit by this vehicle. I'm in a 200 block of Bourbon. In area headquarters, Bourbon Street is shut down from the 100 to at least the 500 block of Bourbon. All officers on Bourbon Street, stop! Headquarters, we need some EMFs in here. Do we have them in route? 9530, we need EMF in here on the code 3.
Clear all my units that are code 1. Clear everyone, start them to that location. Clear anyone on that 30 if possible.
I mean, you see where the truck was crashed into. It looked like one of those scissor lifts. They were doing some construction. He crashed into it. He was doing I read reports of he's doing 80 miles an hour down those streets. Imagine what a pickup truck does to a human body at 80 miles an hour. There was footage there of a guy laying on the ground, his body all twisted up. His body was almost in a circle. His legs were all twisted up. His arms were twisted up and broken. There's blood coming out of his mouth. There were thousands of people down there. You saw how fast that dude was going. And he's going down the street, and then you see him, there was a police barricade, and he just turned and went around it and took off. And then somebody asked the mayor of New Orleans, how come those, I can't remember the term for it, but those metal bars that come up out of the ground, when they're not using them, they're flat. They're even with the surface of the ground, but these metal bars pop up to keep cars from coming through when you have things like this or farmers markets or something like that. So they asked her why those weren't up. And she says, well, the construction on those wasn't complete. They weren't ready. Whatever. I mean, can you blame her for that? I guess. But I mean, ultimately, it comes down to the psychopath who decided to turn his truck down that street and run those people down. I mean, would it have been nice if they had those up? Yes, but you can't really put the blame completely on law enforcement or the mayor or whoever, because why did this crazy piece of shit do that? How do two grown men, this shit usually happens when you think of a terrorist or an extremist, you're thinking somewhere far away where there's a lot of sand. They pray 5 times a day. They live in a place where the sky is constantly blackened with foreign fighter jets and bombers and war and destruction. That's what you think of. You think of somebody who grew up in that, somebody who could be indoctrinated into that because they felt the sting of war. They've been seeing these foreigners, the American troops, driving down their street in Humvees and tanks. But these two men were born and raised here. The guy who did this in New Orleans was born and raised in Texas. These are Americans, and they're not young. This guy is 42. The guy in Vegas was 47. So these aren't young, impressionable, bright-eyed young men who are being indoctrinated and poisoned with this. These are grown-ups. These men went to college. They graduated with degrees. They served in the military for more than a decade. The guy in Vegas, almost 2 decades. How the fuck do they get radicalized? How did this happen to them? How do they get talked into that? Did they tell him, if you do this, and who is them? Who's this group? Who's this black hand? This black leather gloved hand that reaches down and tells them what to do. Did they say, if you do this, we'll take care of your family, we'll put money in an account? How do you get these guys? How do you talk these men, these American born and raised men who grew up in America? Our poor, our poverty, our destitute are nothing compared to some of these third world shitholes around the world. There's some little starving kid in Africa with a bloated stomach. You can see his rib cage and flies around his mouth who's saying, please, God, please make me a homeless person in America. Because our homeless are overweight and they have iPhones. So these guys didn't come from war-torn streets with rusted out tank bodies and old ammunition shells on the ground of where they play. They didn't come from that. How did this happen? Right before Trump gets in office. Coincidence? Are these two guys connected? Did they plan this with each other? Makes sense. What are the chances of the two things like this happening on the same fucking day? Who's behind this? Who trained them? Who radicalized them? Was it Syria? Was it Iran? Was it the Mossad? Was it Israel? Who is it? They wouldn't do that, Jericho. They're our friends. Fuck them. If you're not the United States of America, there's a possibility you'd screw us over. I don't give a damn if it was England. What? Ain't that? Yeah, you guys. If you're not American, there's a possibility, might be big, might be small, that you would fuck us over. Who did it? Who's responsible for this? Here's a police chief. Is it police chief or sheriff in Vegas?
In Las Vegas, police there are investigating a possible terror attack involving a Tesla Cybertruck that exploded into a fireball today outside the Trump International Hotel, killing at least one person. The blast is prompting responses from Elon Musk and the president-elect's son. CBS's Andres Gutierrez has the details.
The Tesla Cybertruck exploded and burst into flames this morning just outside the doors of the Trump International Hotel.
It still looks like mortars from like a firework.
People at the hotel and on the sidewalk had to scramble to safety as fire crews tried to douse the flames.
The fact that this was a Cybertruck limited the damage. It had most of the blast go up through the truck and out.
Police say the person in the Cybertruck died in the blast, and at least 7 people suffered minor injuries.
It was like a firework. It was popping sound, bang sound, and a lot of sparks fly.
Police moved quickly to evacuate the 64-story hotel. The president-elect's son, Eric Trump, expressed gratitude for emergency crews' quick response. Elon Musk, the Tesla CEO who will be leading a Trump administration advisory commission, says he has the whole Tesla team investigating the explosion and posted, "We have never seen anything like this." Authorities tell CBS News investigators are trying to determine whether fireworks were responsible and whether this was an intentional act.
Canisters, they are camp fuel canisters and large firework mortars. What I also would like you to pay attention to on that video, as you see that, it looks like the exterior of that truck is completely intact as it sits there. The fact that this was a cyber truck really limited the damage that occurred inside of the valet, because it had most of the blast go up through the truck and out. In fact, if you look on that video, you'll see that the front glass doors at the Trump hotel were not even broken by that blast, which they were parked directly in front of. You can see that in the video there.
So I think these guys were definitely, or this guy was definitely going for maximum damage. He was hoping to blow out those front windows and send all those shards of glass and metal through the hotel, killing people, the hotel staff who was in there, guests who were in there. I think they're connected. I think these guys are working together. Was it just them? Are these not lone wolves, but a duo of wolves who did this, and why? Why would they decide to do this? Did they hate Trump that much? But the other guy in New Orleans, he's down with ISIS. So is this guy down for ISIS? You saw that. What's that dude named Bo Birdall? Was that his name? The white dude who went over to Afghanistan and became a fucking terrorist. So we've seen it before. Anything's possible. But I think gone are the days of you hopping on a plane to Pakistan and training in the desert. This shit probably happened online, just like all the other bad shit happened online. So are they going to look? Are we still able to believe that these government agencies and entities are able to do their job to the level that we think? And what I mean is, have we been poisoned and fooled by TV that there are just these government agencies who have access to everything and they could be everywhere with their SUVs and their suits and their earpieces? Is that true? Are these just a bunch of dudes up there trying to figure shit out as they go along? Are we smarter than them? Like, what the fuck is going on? Especially with Trump being after the Trump assassination attempt. Either that was an inside job, which it had to be, or they were like, hey, can we get all the borderline retarded agents on this thing, on this assignment while Trump is in Pennsylvania? No, not the good ones, the dumb ones who barely made it. Either you got all the stupid agents you could, or that was an inside job. But to not see a guy climbing on the roof, a guy with a rangefinder, to be inside the building that he's on top of and you don't know it? Is that how it is? Have we been fooled? Are these guys going to be able to look on the computer and find out who they were talking with, who radicalized them? Was there communications between them? Or would we be better off just figuring out this shit on our own? I don't know. But this shit is crazy. It's horrible that it happened. I'm glad that in Vegas, the jackass who did this is the only one who died. Did they not do enough research and they thought that truck was just going to explode like that? I'm glad it did. Great Tesla commercial. But the footage in New Orleans, because there is footage out there, unedited, with that guy running over people, it's fucking insane. I just can't. People are the worst creatures on this planet. The worst. Why would you run over innocent people like that? Well, we know that's terrorism. They're trying to affect the way we live our lives. They're trying to make it so we don't have festivals like this anymore. We don't have people coming out in the streets to celebrate things, a farmer's market or something like that. They don't want us getting together in large groups. They want us to be trapped in our homes. They want us to be afraid. Maybe they want us to rely on our government for safety and give the government more power. Maybe they're doing this so they can make us scared, so we turn to them to help us. Well, if you want my help, my son, you are going to have to give me some of your freedoms. And some of us are like, here you go, pick which one you want. Well, guys, this is terrible. There's going to be more information coming out. I'll do another video as things unfold. But as I promised you, we're going to end it on a good note. These stories about bad people or bad people killing good people. Well, we're going to do something a little different today. We want to hear about the bad guys being killed. Man, oh man. So crazy. How does that even? I saw that yesterday. I was like, what? What the hell? And just seeing people ran over like that, and the twisted bodies and the debris, and they had interviews with people who were there, and they were talking about the sights and the sounds of what was going on. And that's just, man, unthinkable. Let's see if I can find, is this the clip here? Processing. Oh, it is, but it came. All right. Well, anyway, forget it. When I screenshot, it came up small, but don't worry about this. It's not the size that matters, right, ladies? But just listen to this story. I decided to bring it back, especially with something like this. You guys, Good Gun is back in the building. And that's something I used to do where I would, because they're always talking about the bad things that guns do. And you'll probably see some gun control come out of this because you're using an assault rifle, whatever that is. But I wanted to highlight stories of when good people have a gun in their hand and the good things that people can do with the gun, because the gun's not the problem. The gun is merely a tool. So let's listen to what happened to this poor bastard who decided to go up in this old lady's house. But you know how it goes. I try to be done with the left, but they just won't let me. Mal, enjoy.
The 70-year-old grandmother told me it was truly terrifying to have a man break into her home. She felt like she had to jump into action and defend herself, so that's why she says she shot him right at the end of the driveway.
I didn't know what he was going to do, but I knew I was going to protect myself. I'm a fighter. I'm going to defend myself.
70-year-old Virginia Morrison was inside her house yesterday afternoon near Bentwood Street and Farwell Avenue when she heard the door handle moving. The next thing she knew, there was an intruder in her home.
And he stepped in. And I just turned around and I said, "Who are you? What do you want?" Nothing. This guy never said a word the whole time he was here.
She told him to leave and hit him with the broom, but says he swatted it away. Then her partner got his gun and Virginia got hers. Virginia's partner fired a warning shot from inside the house and Virginia went into the backyard. But that's when she says the intruder went outside and started walking toward her.
I fired a warning shot, told him to back off. He just kept coming.
So she shot him in the chest.
And I didn't realize I'd hit him, but once I looked, he had a hole right here in his T-shirt, and I thought, I got him.
Virginia's neighbors say she's a tough lady.
And if you think about coming in here stealing or robbing somebody, you got another thing coming.